Charlotte and the Railroad. The Missouri Pacific Railroad back in those days, well, it was the St. Louis Iron Mountain and Southern, tried to build their railroad through my grandmother's farm without paying her for the right-of-way. This was about a year after my grandfather Henderson died. Someone told her about the railroad going to go through her land. So after she came home from church that Sunday, she took some of us kids with her, went down to the South 40 where she was told they were building the railroad. Sure enough, that's where it was. She got so mad she cried. She was a young woman, about 35 at the time. When her husband died, he had left her a beautiful, well-kept farm of 160 acres, all free and clear of debt, and she was determined to keep it that way. The farm was well-stocked and well-equipped, and we grew just about everything the family needed right there. About the only food we ever had to buy was flour, sugar, and coffee. Back in those days, all the coffee was sold green in the form of the bean, and you had to take it home and roast it, put it in the oven, brown it, and after you browned it in the oven, then you'd have to grind it up yourself. Every home had a small hand-crank coffee grinder. We also bought gunpowder and lead to make our own shells for our rifles. Grandma, she was a crack shot with a rifle and really could handle a gun. Boy, she could bark a squirrel like nobody else in Union County. When grandmother saw they were building the railroad on her property, she said to us, "They're not going to run over me just because I'm a woman and my husband is gone. If they want to fight, they got one." The railroad's plan was to blitz the railroad across her land first, and then negotiate with her later on their own terms. The next day, Monday morning, Grandma sent her son, Wiley, to the construction site to warn them they were trespassing on our property and to get off. They promptly chased Wiley away. When Wiley came home and told what had happened, Grandmother, after giving the matter some thought, decided to go and talk to Mr. Yoakum about it. Mr. Yoakum was a prominent leader in Union County and throughout the state. He was also head of the Ku Klux Klan. He was a grand wizard or dragon or something like that. Grandmother had known him since she was a little girl when her father had worked for him before he died. And as I said earlier, Mr. Yoakum had helped Grandmother and her husband Henderson when they got married to get their farm started. Mr. Yoakum helped with furniture and some equipment they needed, some plows, and so did the other white neighbors. They all were helping Charlotte and Henderson get their start after they got their freedom in 1865. Therefore, Mr. Yoakum was no stranger to her. He listened carefully to what she said, and after she had finished, "I've heard of their dirty tricks, how they cheat and rob farmers out of their land." Then he said, "Charlotte, you go back home and get your gun, and you go out there and tell those SOBs to get off your land. And if they don't get, you shoot the hell out of them, and ain't nobody gonna bother you for what you do to them."